I am on my 10-year-old i7 Gen 1 with 8 GB of RAM, so you may notice a little bit of a lag, and this is a good debug computer. It runs a little bit slower, has a few more issues. I believe I'm using the onboard Intel video graphics, and it does have a GeForce, so if I use this anymore, I usually activate it. I've mentioned several times that when you have a fresh install, then you will see this Welcome Solidworks. This is the same as the home screen, or the home button. And I've on my commercial version, I have clicked the Do Not Show on Startup. So if you use this, obviously you don't want to click that. So whenever SolidWorks launches, this will come up automatically. So these are the default part assembly drawings. Advanced will take you over to any custom templates that you've made for part assembly or drawing, or you can open a file directly. And then of course the list of recent documents, recent folders. We come over to documents and folders, learning resources, and then what's available. So I'll leave that active. We're going to take a quick tour. Okay, just click out of it or wait for it. I think I had my first video lag. Alright, so if the push pin is not pushed, then this will be collapsed and you'll have the arrow. And the fly in, fly out, that kind of annoys me, so I'll do the push pin and then we'll have access to all the pull downs. So standard, general, new, open, exit, things expand as you use different functions. The toolbars, things that we might want to turn on, and the views for the task pane, the status bar, different elements on the screen, different tools, and then this will go to the insert and other pull downs. All of our commands will be available in those pull downs. On the standard toolbar, we have the home again, new, to create the, and not uncommon that you will get I still do have some templates in here. So this has gone over to the default, so that's probably a 2019 or 2020. And if you see the novice, that just means that it's going to go to the default, and you switch to advanced, you'll see part assembly drawing. And if I open up, part inch will be pretty close. I'll still need to identify those original file locations. Alright, so once we open a part in assembly, then we have the insert, tools, and windows come up. Continuing across, we can do save, save as, print tools, everybody's best friend undo, redo, and redo works a lot of the time. It depends on when you either stopped whatever function you were in, or accepted, closed the operation that you were performing. Selection tools, so box selection, lasso. I prefer the box selection. The rebuild, when we make changes and nothing seems to happen, that's usually a good time to rebuild. The file properties, for metadata, keeping track, things that we'd want to show up in the bill of materials. And then the options, and there is a lot of information in the options. Let's see if we can click on it there. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and turn on the Create Configuration Tables on Open. And the drawings, I want to make sure that Mark All Part Assembly Dimensions into Drawings by default is off. I'm going to change my selection color. That blue tends to fade into the background, doesn't show up very well on the videos. Okay, so double click there. And you can leave it or pick whatever color you want. It is going to be similar to some of the dim experts, so we'd want to make sure it's not a color that's actively used to where it completely disappears. Auto rotate views, normal to sketch is good. Use fully defined sketches should be turned off. It pretty much won't let you out of your sketch until you fully define it, which is kind of counterproductive. A lot of times we have to exit a sketch just to get other information, or leave it incomplete until we can finish it out. And then I want to create dimensions only when a value is entered. So those will be the first ones that we use, and we'll have a separate video to go through the high points of the options. Alright, across the top in the title bar we have part. If there's a little asterisk, it means it hasn't been saved. We haven't created anything, so it's there's nothing there. The search and search commands. If you have created a login to Solidworks, I still use older versions occasionally, so this doesn't work with 2017 and previous. So I haven't created a login, but this would manage your licenses. And then the help files will give you the information towards tutorials, what's new, and then the licenses and the products. So when you did the install, let's see if it's going to find those. This will be everything that's active. So I did pretty much a full install on this. It really doesn't need to have all of those turned on. I guess that's when I can jump back to the customize. We're going to do a little more customizing. I'm going to go ahead while I'm here and turn off the images. They take up a little bit of real estate and video resources. Locking the command manager and toolbars should be on. When we're doing the customizing, over on the side, these are the S key pop-ups, and these are all of the available tabs for the different add-ins and programs. So across the heads-up display, there are several items that I've added, and if I wanted one of these to go away, I think I can leave the split entities. I just drag it out, and if I wanted to, let's just put the sketch up there, then I can add it, and those will be the sketch tools. And then different menus on the keyboard, all of your shortcuts. If you copy the list and paste it into an Excel file, you can see what all of the hotkeys are. Mouse gestures are the right mouse button, hold down, drag a little bit to the right, and these will be the items that get applied. And then a little more on the customization. Next on that was the add-ins, and this is everything that is installed. And after all that, I don't see the cam, so I'll have to check into the Solidworks cam on that one. All right, and then continuing on after jumping around, minimize the Solidworks window. Spanning displays, if you have multiple displays, not real functional unless you have the frameless monitors, but it is handy to be able to have one part in a window and another part in a window to be able to do comparisons and move back and forth. The maximize to the screen, and then of course close SolidWorks, which is the same as file and exit. And then for the file, then you can go to the tiles, minimize, restore, and close for the part file, the assembly file, or the drawing file. When we do the task pane, it also has a push pen, so we can leave it there. The welcome, there's a couple of tools on here, the 3D experience, the design library with the toolbox, and apparently it did not find my design library, so if I use this one I'll have to point to it. And the toolbox only works in the assembly, so it's not going to be active. SolidWorks content is an online library of parts and components. File Explorer, very similar to the Windows Explorer, being able to navigate, see what's open, interact with your document structure. I'm not in a drawing, so really the view palette's not going to give me anything. Appearances, and there's a couple things going on with the appearances. We have the task pane, we have the heads-up display for editing an appearance, and then we have the display manager, which we'll come back around to. And each of those kind of has similar but slightly different functions. So let's go to the custom properties, and we can create an interface to write part numbers, revisions, information back to the file properties, but have the added benefit of pull-down lists and radio buttons and building in some logic to our interface. Around on the bottom, we have the units, inch, pounds, seconds. If we edit the document units, that takes us directly to the document properties to units, and we can verify that we have the number of decimal places we want to work with for inches, millimeters, or if we've reversed what our dual dimensions will be. On the status, we have the editing part, and then the version that we're working with, the tabs across the bottom, the model, the 3D views, the motion study. I don't remember the 3D views. I'll have to look in that one a little bit more. So capture, all right. So we'll come back to that one. On the feature tree, the standard 3 planes. Getting a little video lag there. The origin. We can set materials. It kept my solid bodies, so this is going to look a little different. So I'm going to point that out real quick before we finish up. The solid bodies, the annotations, you may have history and something else. At the very top is the part name that we're working on, part or assembly, and then default for the configuration and the default display state, and this is still going back to PhotoWorks instead of the newer rendering software. Property Manager comes up automatically as it's needed, so you probably won't click on that one too much. Configurations and display states, so a lot of different physical properties can be controlled with configurations, where visual properties are controlled with display states. Dim Expert, or our model-based definitions, which is also on that tab, allow us to put dimensions, and working still towards, we've only been working towards paperless drawings for my entire career, so almost 30 years, and we're not quite there yet. And then again, the appearances, decals, scenes, lights, and cameras, so we can do some kind of disco things there. Back around to the tabs, features, sketch, markup, those are going to evaluate, MBD dimensions, all of the available add-ins. Mostly we're going to use sketch and features, and you can pick a sketch. And we start the visual clues. Since I did the sketch, I can pick a plane. It will rotate because we had the option set to rotate. And then my screen changes to from blue origin to the red origin. I see the horizontal and the vertical, the confirmation corner, and the reference triad showing me that I'm in the front view. And then our sketch tools become active, our modify tools, anything that can be accessed in our current state, then will be shown, otherwise it'll be grayed out. The rapid sketch and the instant 2D should be off. Shaded sketch contours we'll kind of go back and forth with. Once we've created geometry, then it will switch to the features, and we'll be doing extrude boss base, revolve boss base, things to start our geometry, and instant 3D should be off. We'll talk about what they do later on, but for now, take my word for it. Okay, coming across the heads-up display one more time, do not do the hide all types. If you push that button and the box updates or goes into the on position, it will hide everything. All right, we don't want to do that. So we're going to do the pull down, and if I want to show the sketch relations and hide the origin, well, my sketch origin is still there, but when I exit the sketch, the little blue origin won't be. So those are handy, but we can toggle those on and off as needed. All right. So going back to the options, just real quick, if you manage your feature tree, and let's see, that is going to be under Feature Manager. Equations are set to automatic. We'll talk a little bit about those. Tables are set to automatic, which is one of the ones I turned on. Sensors I have to automatic, and the history I hide. I don't use that, and it takes up some space. So the design binder, off and on. If I have need of a Word document embedded or connected to a part for documentation, I'll activate it and go through that one. Solid bodies is typically automatic. I want that to show. I always want to just reference to that solid bodies. And then the all-important, let's see, under View, the reverse mouse wheel zoom direction. If you're used to AutoCAD and zooming the other way on your scroll wheel, that will take care of that. All right, that gives you a pretty quick start, and we will pick up from here and start into sketching.